Hello and welcome to the Sensual Being Podcast with myself, your host, Jolene Whiting. I have been a pole dance teacher for nearly 20 years. I'm also a yoga instructor, and my favourite pastimes are connecting to my own sensuality, connecting with the world, and connecting with animals as well. In this podcast, you'll find new and inventive ways of how you see yourself, connecting yourself with others, and also how you see and view the world around you. For this episode today, we are going to be talking about surface beauty, aging, and your career and your life. Oh, it's a big episode today. I hope you enjoy it. Hello, Sensual Being, and welcome back to Sensual Being Podcast. I hope you have been having an amazing time in your life this year. 2024 is certainly a year of invoking a lot of change, or is that just me? I am not sure. So if you are somebody who is feeling the effects of this change, whether you've manifested them yourself or if the universe is throwing them at you, or a bit of both, just know that I am here with you. I am rooting for you, and just believe in yourself and trust in the process. Trust all the time. Trust that everything's working out best case scenario for you, because sometimes it feels like we're walking a bit blind, and we just have to trust. And that's the main thing that we can do as we walk through our quest of life together. Today's topic is quite an interesting one, actually. I've touched on it before, but it comes up quite often for me. Maybe it's because I'm at a certain age. Maybe there's certain societal pressures on my age. I'm 42 at the time of recording this. And I feel like I've gone through a lot of the pressure of, aren't you going to have kids? Aren't you going to have kids? I think it's weird. I think most people just worked out now that I'm not going to. And yeah, that's it. And I've kind of moved through that. But there seems to be a pivotal thing with regards to aging and your choice of career, settling down in any way, shape or form. So I wanted to touch back on some of these subjects again, because I feel like they're very close to my heart, and which probably means some of them might be close to yours. So please take what resonates with you. We are not designed to take everything on in life that we see or hear or read, even if it's coming from someone or something that you really respect and you really like. But it doesn't mean that every single thing that comes out their mouth or that you read has to work for you. You need to work that out. And that is what makes us all individual. So that's very important to take with you throughout this podcast, throughout your life, definitely, all throughout your life. So one of the biggies is I really feel like age is an illusion. I mean, I told you how old I am, but I didn't tell you how young I am, and it's just that weird thing of like, how old are you? It's like is it a negative concept? I don't know if we've just made it negative, like old and getting older and things like that. How many years have you been in this realm? Maybe, God, that might be quite a question to ask people. Thousands of years, maybe. It depends how you're looking at this. How many years have you spent in the body that you have? Maybe that's a better question. So I just feel like age is an illusion, because surely, were you born at the time of being birthed out of the womb into this world, or were you born at the time that your heart grew and that you had a heart? Were you born at time of conception? Were you born at time of thought, like when somebody thought about you and then brought you into this world? Age, minefield for me, I just feel like is one of the biggest illusions ever, and very delusional as well. Disillusioned, maybe, is probably the right word. Because we base so much of our life on this. And it's not even real. I mean, when you think about our life and just in general, like the past, the present, and the future are all happening at the same time. Yeah, so the past, the present, and the future is all happening at the same time. And when you think about that, you think, and then you start to think, well, why do some days go slow and some days go fast? You know, and it goes different paces for everybody, depending on kind of what you're doing and your mindset. You know, then when people say, oh, time flies when you're having fun, you know, why is time flying when you're having fun? And then why is it dragging when you're not? Is the world physically slowing down for you? When we say we create our own reality and we manifest our own reality, is this what they mean? You know, I think it's such an amazing thing to think about, but it's completely mind-boggling at the same time. And we're so fixated on age, particularly when it comes to appearance and, like, you know, for example, anti-wrinkle cream. Who the fuck cares, really? I mean, honestly, when it comes down to it, when you look at your partner, do you care about that sort of thing? And if you don't, why do you care about it about yourself? What is it? What is the thing? This is just surface. This is surface. It doesn't matter how you look to anybody else. It really doesn't. And if you answered yes to that question, if it does bother you, why? Why does it? Why does it not bother you more about how their spirit is and things like that? And you're not a bad person if you said yes. You're not a bad person if you think it about yourself. You're just somebody who has been conditioned in this modern world to be so fixated on looks. And there's people that spend hours on makeup every day. Every day. And it's so funny sometimes. You get some people who are like, some women who are like, oh, I only wear lipstick. And you can tell that natural look they've got on their face wasn't just lipstick. You know, people are too afraid to be in their own skin. Now, I am somebody who wears makeup, but I've really tailored it back over the last couple of years. I've really sat with it and thought, what am I doing? And why am I doing it? And I go through phases of enjoying wearing it and then thinking, can't be asked. Why am I doing this? You know, this certain times, like if I'm getting all dressed up for date night and being misread, sometimes that's part of the outfit. Like I'll put on an outfit. Yeah. So I see it as that. I don't see it as necessity. But we are so obsessed with how we look. But it doesn't matter. What matters is what's shining out from within you. That is what matters. It really, you know, everything else is just surface. But we have been cosmetic surgery, oh, it's incredible how much big business that is now. And it's growing. It's growing. If you were somebody who injects stuff into their lips or whatever, or wants a boob job, I had a boob job, or getting another one. The biggest thing I can tell you to do is turn off your TV. Yeah. Because that's where all the conditioning is. That's the main source of conditioning. And it's funny because I saw something. It's a little video, just a little short video. I think it was a Facebook reel. And it was people leaving high school in the early 90s compared to people leaving high school in the late 90s. And it was really like this sort of home video type filming, like possibly on their last day of school and things like that. Nobody ever forgets their last day of school. Best day ever. Oh my God, for me, yes. So anyway, in this video, I thought, well, that's really interesting because the people who were leaving school in the early 90s looked completely different. I'd argue they looked happier than the people leaving in the late 90s. And I thought, well, that's really interesting because what changed? How did they change in that 10 years, in that decade? What changed them? It was TV. It's television. So it's whatever you're watching on television is literally conditioning you to how you are. And it's not until you break that pattern. It's a hard pattern to break. I'm not telling you it was easy turning off my television, but I did do it. And it's been over 2 years now since I've watched television, and I can't watch it now. I just can't. I feel repulsed by the idea of sitting in front of a screen and watching something completely scripted just to make me feel a certain way, just to condition me a certain way. When you break free of this, it is magic. It is magic, but it's not easy. I did not turn the TV off because I hated it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I haven't missed it. After the first month, I haven't missed it. I promise you, I have not missed it at all. The connection I have with myself and other people now, and the ideas I've had to move my life forward, is completely different. So different now. But anyway, back to that little video. It was television. It's television. It's all the conditioning through there. And this, it changed their hair, it changed their look, it changed their clothes. And had there not been television, how would they have been from the late 90s from the early 90s to the late 90s? Who knows? Because there wouldn't have been conditioning to get to the people in the early 90s either. How would people have been? How would people be if you could just be yourself? It's like when you try and work out who are you, that's so hard to answer, because so many things and ways about you that you answer is due to the conditioning that we've had in our lives growing up, particularly at such a young, pivotal age. And everybody at school, we're just trying to be liked. I was trying not to be bullied. I'm just trying to survive. It's survival to get through school. So yeah, I did try and get the LSE top to blend in. Yes, I did have the shot jacket to try and blend in. The red shot jacket hardly blended in with anything ever, but we're all just trying to survive. But if you weren't conditioned, nobody was, who would you be? And that's kind of my inward life journey at the moment over the last few years, is to really try and work that out. Like, who am I? Who do I want to be? And it's things like that, like the makeup. I've sort of been conditioned to wear it, and I'm like, who am I without it? Can I be without it? And I'm not saying this stuff is easy. I'm communicating it with you because it comes to the front of my mind a hell of a lot. It's not easy, but these are questions that are worth asking. Are you just going through the motions? It is hard, and particularly me and my partner, we are growing together. We're very lucky. We've been very blessed that over this 10 years, we are growing together, and we're continuing to grow together. And it's so funny because yesterday on my Facebook memories, I had like a memory come up from 10 years ago, and it actually said, 10 months in, this is when I used to do statuses like this anyway, 10 months into our relationship, and I'm still excited to see my partner. And I cut it and screenshotted it for him and sent it to him last night. And I said, 10 years in, and I'm still feeling like this. And I feel so lucky that we feel like this together. But we have changed so much. And I think, unfortunately for him, I may have changed faster and quicker. And he's been so accepting to me. But because I've changed so much, it's causing kind of issues. Like, I don't want to go to pubs or bars because I don't drink. And it's had a knock-on effect. I'm not saying he can't drink. I'm not saying that at all. And I'm quite happy to go to a bar so long as I don't have to have a drink. But it's this whole like, I can't drink if you're not drinking. We've got through that stage. He still likes a drink every now and again, but he doesn't really drink as much. And I think it's one of these things where it's like, if someone's made you a healthy dinner and it looks really nice and tasty, why would you go and get takeaway? It's kind of when those decisions are put in front of you, sometimes it's easier to pick the healthier option or the better option, whatever you deem that to be, when it's right there next to you. But sometimes when it's not there, sometimes it's hard to make these decisions. And sometimes we're just like, yeah, let's just go out and eat. Because you know what? Going out and eating is fun, but it's actually really hard to not do it. It's really hard sometimes to not do it, to pick what you would deem as the right choice. I'm careful about saying pick the right thing, because that's different to everybody at any time. So again, going back to what I said right at the start of this episode, it's about taking from it what works for you. Yeah. But I just feel like this whole world being obsessed with age, even in your career, like we're working so hard in our most active points of our life, our most healthiest, in theory, points of our life, only to retire when we are too tired and too ill or too old to do anything with the money. What is the point? Can we not build a life where we can really live it and enjoy it now? Not put everything aside and wait. Can we have mini retirements throughout the way? One of the books that I read, which really changed my focus on everything, this was years ago when it first came out. I don't remember when it first came out, but it's by Timothy Ferriss, and it's a 4-hour work week. Game changer book. Absolutely love that book. It must have been about 15 years ago maybe, but it really changed my outlook on how you can live your life and live your life with work, not be dictated by your work and your hours. And that really changed things for me. It really did. It really opened up. It's almost like it, whilst I was self-employed then, it almost gave me a permission to seek a different lifestyle. And I'm not saying it's easy, because I work late, and to be honest, nowadays I'm actually struggling to do the late evenings now, because I'm better going to bed early, getting up early, and particularly in the summer, I just love that. I love the morning sun, and sometimes the morning is the only time we get the sunshine. So, I want to try and get that fix of sun and, vitamin C energy into my body. I just love it. But I can't do it when I'm absolutely knackered from working so late. So, I'm not saying this stuff is easy, but it's having the permission to try and find that balance in your life. And also to remember that it's not all about success of what you were taught originally. Success, I've got to move up the ladder, got to become this, got to own this, or got to buy this, I've got to earn this, I've got to have this much money in the bank. That's not success. Because if you've got all that and you are not spending quality time with yourself and those that you love, that's failure. There's no two ways about it. That is failure. Who wants that? And I'm not saying you can't have both. Some people I know do have both, and that's amazing. For me, I am not money driven at all. I've always been driven by connections to those that I love, to be able to see those that I love regularly and not just little pockets of the day when I'm feeling my most exhausted. And this stuff isn't easy to do because it goes against the narrative of society. Oh, you're this age by now, shouldn't you be earning this? No, I don't fucking care. I have a life that I love. That is what's important. And it's funny as well, because it's sometimes hard if you want to like pivot from what you've been doing, to be able to reinvent yourself with something new. And this taps into something I said so often. I like the idea of being able to have multiple lifetimes within your life, to not be bogged down by just one discipline, one technique, one qualification, one type of thing. No, to be able to feel that vibrancy of life. If you want to change your career, change what you offer in the world, why can't you do that? But we're so conditioned to not do it. Oh, and don't get me started on qualifications and not feeling qualified even once you've got your qualification. That might be a little bit of imposter syndrome coming in there if you feel like that. But I know some people who do qualification after qualification, certification, degrees and all of this. You're like, teach the damn thing, for God's sake. Teach the bloody thing that you're doing, the love that you have for this subject. I'm not saying stop learning, but I'm saying get out there, because people need you. People need what you have to offer. And I remember when I qualified for my yoga course, so my first one is a 200-hour one. Oh my God, the shaming within the yoga world. I had no idea. The shaming around, oh, you've only got a 200-hour one, you're not ready to teach. Wow. No wonder so many people get these qualifications and then they just don't use them because then they feel like they're not qualified. Yeah, you are. Yes, you are. And you learn by doing. And it's okay if you make mistakes. We all make mistakes sometimes. It's just noticing them and learning from them. You know, if you, for example, teach a yoga posture in a class and then you sort of think when you leave, you think, I didn't teach it on the left, I only taught it on the right. It's okay. Forgive yourself, remember it and move on. Or maybe one of your students might tell you and then you can address it there and then, which is amazing if that happens. So yeah, you are allowed to be human. When you go through and do all these different things, you're allowed to be human, you're allowed to learn. And just because you've got a qualification does not mean to say the learning stops. The learning will still come by doing it. You don't always need to keep on getting other qualifications. And I'm not saying you can't, because, you know, in the yoga world, I've got Hatha Yoga. If I wanted to teach yin yoga, then yes, I'd go and get a qualification for that. But I don't need another qualification to teach Hatha Yoga. I've got it. Just go do it. Go teach it. Which is quite ironic right now as I'm sitting here talking to you about this, because I don't actually have my yoga class restarting just yet. So, you know, maybe it's a kick up the bum for me to get it back out there, but that's not due to what I've just said. It's due to other things going on within my business world at the moment. But I just want to put a shout out as well that despite everything I've said, if you are in a 9-to-5 job and you are happy, please carry on doing it. And if you are not happy, look at it. Because there is nothing wrong with a 9-to-5 job. There is nothing wrong with earning your money that way, particularly if it fuels you to do the things you love in your life. Yeah. It's very important in this world that we have a mixture of people who thrive on the 9-to-5 job and people who thrive being out there in the world on their own, self-employed. We need both. Yeah. And when you're doing a 9-to-5 job, do you want to know one of the biggest perks? In theory, you might tell me, no, it's not like that at my work. One of the biggest perks of a 9-to-5 job, when you go home at 5 o'clock, you can go home. I can tell you now, I haven't been home for 20 years. I can't leave my work alone. But the funny thing is, like, if I force myself to have a holiday, then when I do go on holiday, I get so inspired. So when I come back, I feel so inspired. So yeah, it swings and roundabouts, and it's finding what works for you. That's the most important thing. And before I go, I just wanted to touch on something. Now, I say this as well, and I just wanted to touch on it because it bothered me today, about manifesting your dream life. Yeah, there's always, it's a bit like in the spirituality world, it's always like, oh, I'm going to get you to the next level and things like that. It's like, no, shut up and go away, please. I'm okay here. I'm not about levels as people who do my pole dancing classes. No, I've even taken all the names away. So we don't call it beginners, intermediate, advanced. We call them different things because I don't like the whole levels, leveling up and things like that. I don't like it. But the thing is, when we think about manifesting the life of your dreams, constantly we keep hearing this. But let's not forget that the life you have now, you manifested it at some point. So would you say that back then you weren't manifesting the life of your dreams and now you should be? No, make sure you are literally living the dream. Living your life now. Even if you're manifesting, that's cool. Yeah, do it. Come on, because life keeps moving. But don't ever forget where your life is right now. Right now. This is the most important moment of your whole life because it's now. It's the only real moment that we ever have. So to live in this future world of manifest your life of your dreams, I'm not saying you can't, but just don't forget about your dream life that's happening right now. Because you just want to make sure the more you can stay in the moment, the more you will enjoy the passing of time. And that's the ultimate goal with our life, is to enjoy the passing of time. So make that happen in whatever way, shape or form as much as possible. And just remember to notice it as much as possible. So I really hope that you have enjoyed it. What word is that? I've just made up a new word. I really hope you have enjoyed this podcast today. And remember, as always, to lead through your life with your heart and to live with intention. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this episode, please do share it with your friends and on social media. If you have the time to rate or review this podcast, I'd be ever so grateful. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram, you can find me at Jolene Sensual Being. The links to my YouTube and to sign up to my mailing list will be in the show notes as well. I look forward to speaking with you again very soon.